What's up, everyone, and welcome to the round 2 front 9 of the Las Vegas Challenge. This is the first stop of the Disc Golf Pro Tour. My name is Mitch Phillips. Joining me is Nathan Queen. How are you doing, man?
Doing well. Happy to be back for the second round here at Wildhorse Golf Club. We're playing the Innova course today. Quite a bit longer, quite a bit more scoring separation.
Yeah, definitely as we continue in this tournament, the courses do get longer. The wind, not as big of a factor, but definitely more than the previous day. I was checking with our leaderboard here. All of our players at -9. I believe there were 8 or 9, maybe 10 players all around that -9 score.
Yeah, it seemed like -9 went all the way back to 4th card possibly. So lots of tight scores. You see Chris Dickerson, 11 under at the top with a couple of 10s chasing him, and Eagle McMahon and Gannon Bird, the 16-year-old.
As we check in with Ricky Wysocki's bag, newly coming back to the Trilogy family, leaning on those Rives. Of course, coming back to the Daggers, got the Orbit Felon, and he's just throwing a lot of the chameleon plastic, kind of that overstable versions of some of the other plastic. Checking in with Kevin Jones' bag. Always pushing those D2s extremely far. Also going to be leaning on the A3 for his approaches, and the PA3, he's put those for years. Be sure to be on the lookout for him to be hitting some big putts inside and outside the circle. Continuing with Calvin Heimburg's bag, known to throw his destroyers, the Halo destroyers, the Millennium Draco, definitely one to be looking for. And you can't think of Calvin Heimburg and not think of the Eagle.
Yeah, he gets a nice beat-in Eagle to fly nice and straight for him.
And finally, we get to Adam Hammis's bag, leaning on those forces. He putts with the focus and definitely with the wind, and just being able to throw overstable shots on a course like this. Going to be leaning on that new Captain's Raptor, I'm sure.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of people are really liking those. Excited to see those fly. Bringing us into hole 1, 351 feet. You're going to have a left to right wind coming off of this hole today, pushing you towards that OB on the right side. If you... It kind of keeps that big high righty hyzer out of play because it can keep you off to the right. So forehand or a straight mid-range to fairway driver.
First on the card at 9 under par, we have Ricky Wysocki.
Yeah, and this actually has been shortened a little bit and actually moved to the right, like you said, to start to have that one tree there to block them. And really the difficulty comes too with the putt. You know, if you push it too high, if, like you said, that left to right wind maybe gets under it, the out of bounds can come into play definitely a lot more than the previous year.
Yeah, moving it shorter, it has the hillsides in front of it rather than behind it. So if you push long, it's a much better chance of going OB.
But pushing long is not Ricky Wysocki. That is absolutely perfect to start out his round.
Yeah, absolutely going to get that birdie, get him to 10 under.
Kevin Jones, another just forehand master here. You'll be able to match it. I feel like over the years, Ricky has thrown less and less forehand, so it's awesome to see him start it out. And Kevin just really known for his hyzer flip. Sometimes can even throw understable discs on a forehand.
Yeah, I think he prefers to. This looks pretty good as well. Needs to push forward, but it does look like he gets inside the circle.
Yeah, and like you said, you're bringing that up with that hill being there now.
Calvin Heimburg.
Yeah, if you carry just over that hill, you'll get a pretty good skip rather than just stopping right there. So distance control, pretty crucial. If you can keep it lower, it's also a better chance you can keep it from skipping out or pushing out with the wind. Looks nice and wide from Calvin, one of his Halo destroyers, and he's up there inside the circle as well.
Chase card at 9 under par, Adam Hammis.
Yeah, and Adam Hammis, one of the smoothest forehand players. Very interesting form. We're definitely going to see that throughout the round. Has that big last step to really get the weight shift into his forehand, which a lot of players don't do. It's definitely really unique, and he puts it to work here starting on hole 1.
Yeah, it comes off very smooth. One of the faster releases on his forehand, and they're all in a pretty similar spot. Looks to be inside 25 feet for the group. We're actually just outside the circle here for Kevin.
Oh, and taking advantage of the no wind there on hole 1, just sneaking it in left side.
Yeah, when the wind was there today, it was a little more than yesterday, but there were also quite a few lulls where it would just stop for 30 seconds or so.
Yeah, and you can see, like you said, 30 seconds later, Adam's dealing with that left to right again, just
And
low
you
out of the hand.
see it pack it low with that little wind. Kept it from ever rising high enough.
Oh, and Calvin actually spit straight through. That's
unfortunate.
It's kind of humbling, starting on hole one and realizing, all right, need to kind of adjust a little bit, but also not really adjust at all. Sometimes.
Yeah, it's best just to not think about those if you can. It's tough to do. Luckily, he didn't roll away like
Right.
It looked like it tried to for a second. So able to walk away with the par knowing that he had a good putt.
Yeah, as we move into hole 2, par 3, 270 feet, one of the shorter holes here on the course. Best shot here is going to be a mid-range, maybe even that approach speed putter disc. If you can turn it a little bit for the right-hand backplane player, it does play kind of a flip-up hyzer, but fading out or turning it too much, really those trees on both sides and the low ceiling can come into play, and you really can't run this putt unless you're within about that 35-foot range.
Yeah, there's pretty low ceiling most of the way there. One of the few shots out here that remind me somewhat of a line you have to hit back in North Carolina.
Yeah, anytime you get in those woods, it just takes you home. Kevin going with a mid-range, or it looks like.
He's got a nice stand-up on that, but it's a little low. This ground on this particular hole, I don't think slides very well. It's a little loose.
Yeah, and you heard him say as it landed, it seems like there was a bush there. It may have gotten caught up at the end of the flight there around the corner. And Calvin really making himself known for these low-driven power shots. Really with any class disc, I feel like. Adam going to this overstable, probably a zone here. He's going to go more of the flex play, kind of let it glide out and use the stability at the end of the flight to kind of let it straighten up.
Yeah, I like this play. It's easier to keep it higher rather than getting it low, but he does release that a little early, it seems, or not quite get the turn he was looking for. Rolls to a favorable spot, though, to get the par.
Yep, hitting the pin there, no worries to be able to walk away with the par. And like I said, Ricky just, that low ceiling, there's really no chance for him to be able to run that. And that's a range where Ricky really runs anything.
Oh, and it looks like Kevin did get a pretty good slide up there. He's right around circle's edge again here. And able to connect again for the 2-2 start.
Calvin sliding all the way up here, right side, pin high, easy work. Also going to be taking his first birdie. Feels like he birdied the first one with that spit through, but like you said, it's those mental, choices you can make along your round, especially early, to be able to move on and just play your golf and stay in a good headspace as we move into hole 3, par 3, 260 feet. Talk us through how this one works.
Yeah, this one you're going to have a headwind today, or a little bit of left to right, right to left. It kind of switches back and forth. Most players are going to take the less scary route than the drone and go to the right side. There's an OB line over there, but much less scary than the water. Just a pretty soft putter, whatever you're most comfortable with to throw 260. You could throw a fairway high and get it to kind of fade off to the left. You could throw a mid-range.
Kevin going to approach series disc.
Yeah, Kevin right here.
Perfect. So we get a look of Kevin's form here. Nice and slow steps. He uses that back foot so much to get that power, and kind of you see him most of the time maybe lock in, not let that follow through go all the way, but that really helps him control that release point to be able to just absolutely park this one. And this is a little bit early out of Calvin. It does clip the tree, and it doesn't get the roll back. That does go out of bounds.
Ricky looking to correct, and he does get that out wider. This looks to be that fairway play with the nose up and just great control right there. He'll have a fairly easy birdie look.
Yep, and Adam actually going into the same disc he threw forehand on that turnover, going to go backhand here.
this is sawed off as well. He's going to need some help, and that will kick down out of bounds. He's going to be playing from the drop zone now. This is a putt you could run. Adam's got a good putt to try it if you really wanted to, but there is OB behind it, and as you can see, the wind was blowing pretty hard at that point in time.
Yeah. Excuse me, Calvin actually did get all the way through around the corner, but that's low out of his hand.
Yeah, that's one of those ones you want to take advantage of. He got a fortunate kick off of that tree to go forward.
Yeah, it's pretty rare to be able to get a kick all the way through.
Somebody just lost a disc in the background.
Oh, no.
Ricky able to get the birdie, though. Not worried about the other guy's disc. Puts him 2 down through 3. And Adam, unfortunately, going to take the bogey and go over par.
Yeah, kind of a slow start for Adam. You know, just the putt just a little bit low, but he'll definitely have some time to get it going here.
Tap in for Kevin.
PDG Event Support Helpline.
Hey, I was wondering if I could add some rules to my tournament to make it a little unique.
Sure. You just need a waiver from the Director of Event Support.
Okay, great. An island green?
Shouldn't be a problem.
And elevated baskets?
Yeah, we get those all the time.
Oh, and forehands only?
Sarah, we've been over this.
Sorry. I mean, but I don't see why we can't try it. I mean, everyone loves forehands. Like, you can go right, you can go left, you can throw straight, you can throw high, you can throw low.
Bringing us into hole 4, 377 feet. Kind of your stock straight shot here. The trees are getting a little higher, and they're taking that high hyzer out of play a little bit more. Gonna have a tailwind with a little bit of right to left here. So righty backhand, you could probably get a mid-range there with this tailwind help, or go with the fairway driver with a little more stability to control that distance.
Yeah, and Kevin's definitely choosing the latter there with the overstable fairway in his hand. Able to just put everything he's got on it and let it fade back to the left. It's just early out of his hand, as it skips. Gonna be a tough putt to run from being on that left side, that downhill roll away comes in quick, and here's Ricky taking that first option, picking up a mid-range. Oh, and this is turning perfectly.
Yeah, he's done that great. Gets a little bit too much on it, but not really. He is in the circle and has a great putt for birdie.
Yeah, I mean, going along with the mid-range, that straight shot at that 380 mark, that's just the torque and the control that he just has mastered in that mid-range game over the years.
Calvin going with that overstable fairway.
A lot of wind bounce on this one.
Yeah, and this one's going to get the wind's going to get a hold of that one as well. Ricky really showing great touch. That slight right to left that you have in this really makes the angle of your disc much more important. If you get it turned over just a little bit too much, then it's going to grab it and carry it off to the right. So that's why you see these players drifting off to the left, trying to avoid that. And it looks like Adam's going to do the same thing. So very precise angles from Ricky there to get his disc to fly straight.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting tee shot as we get into these putts where you're kind of throwing uphill, but it's really more of a straight shot by the way it's looking. And Calvin giving it a run, hitting basket from well outside, almost outside circle 2 there.
Scary putt to run there.
Yeah. Adam stepping up, looking to run this as well. Favorable wind for his putt, that right to left movement. Hits chains, and it does stand up and roll all the way out of bounds.
Yeah, I was waiting. We've seen a couple discs sit down that could have rolled, and Kevin wisely gonna lay up after watching that. That's a tough one to refocus, even if it wasn't your putt.
Yeah, and Kevin's usually one to run from that distance, so just realizing the kind of the feel on the card. And
for the bogey now, and pulls it off to the right again.
And that's even further than he was almost on the first one. That wind's starting to pick up now, and he makes the mental decision to just know the putt's just a little bit off. And I think that's a good play. When you're not feeling it, let the kind of stop the bleeding. Know that you're frustrated. But Ricky Wysocki not frustrated, picking up the only birdie on the card, puts himself 3 down through 4. And Adam going to pick up the unfortunate 6 here on hole 4.
Yeah, that's a tough choice to make, but it is smart, especially if you're not feeling it. You don't want to keep going back and forth.
Yeah, definitely uncharacteristic. And like we said, Adam, one of the greatest putters we have in our game right now as we move into hole 5. 666 feet, par 4. Off the tee, you're going to see a lot of turnover backhands, maybe even a forehand, try to get just around where this tree is now. And then you set yourself up to this really protected green, fast green. The golf green there is very close inside the circle, and it drops off a lot behind the basket. Don't see too many finally out of bounds unless you skip off the top, because there is a good amount of space. But Ricky going to be reaching for a drive here, going for that big turnover play. He really likes to torque over on these. Oh, and this is huge.
Yeah, it looks like he's done so well. The only thing he has to worry about now is if he goes far enough to get into this bunker over here. And I was kind of joking when I said that. Like, that's a really long way. Unfortunately, he does go that far.
Yeah. That, and we're not laughing that went out of, in the hazard. We're laughing because that is an absurd drive. As Kevin just has a little bit too much stability on that, but that's a pretty common space to be and kind of set up for another forehand.
Yeah, with it being under 700 feet, you don't have to bite too much off of this tee shot to be able to reach the green. This is one of the holes that's changed from last year. The basket's over to the right side of that golf green that you see rather than the left. So a little bit of new challenges for these guys. If this can sit and not flare off into the right, this is going to be good. It does stay out in the open, so a great shot from Calvin there.
Being on that left side, he really gets to open it up and be able to have another backhand instead of being forced to a weird turnover. And this forehand turning in a big way for Adam.
Yeah, and that's a pitch out zone over there. You might be able to advance forward a little bit, but birdie is out of play.
Oh, and Kevin's slipping.
I think he's almost patting that now, right?
Yeah, we were talking, and some of the talk on the cars, like he just kind of decides to fall when, if he gets the chance, why not? Take a rest while you're down there, and like you predicted, Adam does pitch out, but gets a lot of distance on that. Using these golf fairways to his advantage, that skip shot and gaining, easily another 100 feet.
So that's the 500-foot sign you see in front of Calvin there. So able to go with a putter here, slide it right on up. He's going to have a good look for a birdie. Ricky trying to save the par after throwing it too far.
Or save the birdie.
Oh, wow.
Gosh.
Given that was a very controlled run from that distance. That had to be 90 feet at least.
At least.
And he was able to, on a scary green, give it a run and still stay inside the circle.
Yeah, and Kevin playing the more safer run, just giving it there. And
looks like Adam's going to go for this one.
Drop.
Asking for it to drop, and it does, but it also gets a roll. And you're in that spot. You just, you're taking back-to-back strokes over par, and you need to start pushing.
Oh, and a pretty good putt, just a little bit right side, could have stuck, but decides to fall out this time. He's in a bit of a rough stretch here. He needs to get this turned around.
Yeah, Ricky with a great comeback for par, and it really feels like a birdie with, pushing that sand trap, like you said, you're nearly joking and finding it, but does clean up the par. And Kevin, after some unfortunate tree hits, is actually going to be able to find the par as well.
So Calvin for the lone birdie. Gonna catch back up with the card a little bit here. Bringing us into hole 6. If you remember from the round yesterday, we had the triple island on hole 6. Now we just have the single island hole 6, 222 feet. Very fast green here. If you throw anything too fast that's slanted down towards the water and can get a slide, about 38 feet or so off to the left side is where the OB mark is as well. Very short, soft putters here, trying to get them down fast.
And this is a little early fading, but it catches just barely that little upslope there and slows it down. And this is one, seeing it, on camera, it definitely looks like that green area is so big. But when you're standing there looking at the water, and that green is so small to be able to attack, and this looks great from Ricky. Sliding, oh, perfect.
Yeah, the tree on the right and then the bushes that you see close to the green there where that building's at really make this more of a straight shot than it looks like on camera. And there's always a headwind or a little bit of a right to left going on as well.
Yeah, and Kevin with that flat release trying to match the angle, almost giving it an ace run. Slides just outside the circle there.
Yeah,
and
you see how quickly this green is.
You hit close to it, and Adam disking up a little bit. Fading. Oh, this looks
needs
good.
To slow down.
Oh, and it slows down with touching those chains weak side, nearly ringing it up to get his round going in the right direction. Let's check in with his form. And like you said, this is more of a straight shot as he reaches for this overstable. You see that reach back coming through and high, and kind of shorten it a little bit, letting that back foot come up just to balance it out. And gosh, an ace here on 6. I mean, there's really not a more picturesque hole to do it here at the end of a course.
Shout out George Dark Ace. He got it during practice.
Did. Definitely check out that video on socials. It was incredible. But check out this video here.
Go Kevin Jones. Very scary putt.
When he gets that step putt going, man, it is nothing to be just. God,
yeah, he's got that putt going so far this round.
He really does.
He's had a couple from circle's edge. That's outside the circle there.
Adam hitting the chains twice on this hole, but for birdie. Starting to right the ship there. That's a good thing. Sitting at, +4 through 5, definitely not the way he was or through 6, the way he was expecting it to go. But, getting that momentum, realizing, hey, almost getting an ace, your mental starts to change a little bit.
Yeah, he's keeping it together. Able to get that birdie. He's going to start getting on the right track, hopefully. Calvin looking to keep the birdie streak on 6 alive for the card. No problem. So Ricky for the star frame on the card. And there it is. So
that's huge.
I was on the card before this, and we also star framed it. So 8 birdies in a row here.
Yeah, and we don't know what happened on the card behind it, but it would have been amazing to see 10 plus on such a difficult hole as we move into hole 7. Par 4, 432 feet. Kind of a short distance for a par 4, but the reason being there is so much danger on this. All out of bounds does go to the drop zone. All hazard does play from where you're at, out of bounds being the green and long. And this, only 330-ish feet to that green, so the layup can really get away from you when this wind decides to just kind of push discs forward, and you can find the green pretty easily. But Calvin, and he does roll into the hazard.
And
that's just a short putt after that, though.
Yeah, it's a short putt, but that's why it's called a par 4. That looked perfect, and he ended up drifting into a OB hazard area, so he will be putting for 3.
This looks pretty high out of Ricky, and it does kind of carry pretty straight here as you can see the spotter turn around.
Oh, wow.
And it does roll all the way down.
Oh.
That's a rare miss to go all the way down the hill. It just kind of got away from him a bit, and he's going to have to go to the drop zone not to be able to play where it is.
And with a lot of late stand-up in this shot, he's going to skip over top of the bunker, but this looks like it's going to be getting that roll OB also.
Wow.
And yeah, it's once it hits that cart path, it just doesn't seem like anything allows it to come back in.
Yeah, where that pin's placed, it's kind of there so you do hit the hazard in a way, but to see our players skip over it is definitely not the most common. Let's see if Adam can correct. Doesn't like it out of his hand, holding on to it maybe a bit too long. Big skip here, hoping
this
for
needs
it.
To go further. Not quite going to make it there.
he'll be going to the drop zone as well. So our card really struggling off the tee
drop
here.
zone
Yeah.
shots here, yeah. That's a little bit surprising to see, but I guess it's not. That's why.
Yeah, we did have a left to right here as we were playing this one, so the shots maybe not fading as much, and Ricky actually going to find the hazard. Oh, and just worse comes to worse.
Yeah, he'll be putting for 5 now from that hazard.
And really, no matter what distance you're at here, this is not an easy basket to approach, but Kevin keeps it low, uses the green, and slides up well inside the circle.
Yeah, that's a smart play. Keep it low. Use a putter that you know is going to go straight, even if it does get that skip. And Adam has stood this up a little bit too much. Oh, my goodness.
He
Does
hits
that
his
get in
own.
bounds?
It does get in bounds. It kicks off it. He hits his own disc and pushes it forwards. Makes good for the par. Nathan, we are in Vegas, but I would not bet anyone anything that you could have any time that you would hit your own disc.
I was going to go in the bunker.
Straight up. I mean, I can't think. I mean, I've been playing disc golf 10 plus years now, as I know you have as well. Have you ever seen someone hit their own disc on a fairway?
No, that's pretty wild right there, and very fortunate for him.
Yeah.
That was going too fast and too far to the right. There you go, Vegas.
Yeah, for real. And Calvin actually tapping in the birdie here. This is a par 4. Kind of a weird thing to be able to know you're sitting in hazard, but still have a birdie putt, but making good. And Calvin quietly, picking up 3 in a row here.
Yeah, making a move, tied for the lead on the card. All right, here we are at hole 8, 427 feet. Pretty downhill shot, probably only plays 380, 390. I imagine from this card we're going to see forehands, maybe a backhand mid-range shot. It seems that the left to right slightly tailwind that we have plays pretty well for that if the player chooses so. But forehand definitely the easiest play if you have the distance for it.
Yeah, for sure. And Calvin one definitely has the distance for it. Doesn't lean on it too much. He does like that turnover backhand, but on a hole like this, like you said, for the lefty, it's really just to flip up hyzer. It does play shorter, being that it's downhill, and Calvin puts that inside the circle. Kevin going forehand as well.
Yeah, and we kind of have a tailwind here today, which is definitely opposite from what I have experienced in the past. It's usually a bit of a headwind, and it makes it the forehand it just makes the choice more difficult whether you want to go to the right of this bush or go with the full hyzer over or around it.
And Adam chooses the high hyzer well enough distance and puts it inside the circle. And that bush really does come into play in your head. Maybe not in the shot necessarily, because it is just enough, but when you're trying to decide to go up the middle or not, as Ricky goes right over it, it's kind of that extra little added thing that gets in your head a little bit. And Ricky, great shot there. Just a little bit short right. Kevin mid-circle too.
Yeah, right towards the OB here.
And hits it.
What a putt. Let's rewind that.
Oh my goodness. And Kevin's putt, such a unique, nearly dragging the disc across the ground, using every bit of his legs, swinging through and catching those nubs, kicking up.
Yeah, just enough nose up there to have that soft finish. Make sure it wasn't going to go OB if he missed, but it doesn't matter. He's got another birdie. And Ricky is going to go OB there. He'll now be putting for bogey coming back from the other side.
A rare miss from Calvin from that distance, just got away from him a little bit. The wind is really picking up as these putts are coming in. Like you said, Ricky now putting for the 4. Good comebacker there. It's just unfortunate, and you don't realize it, as you're walking this course and seeing it, is that the sponsor wall there, they've started to push them a little bit off the out of bounds to not let them, kind of play into it and kicking back and roll off, but a great birdie there from Adam to correct.
Yeah, and this hole actually did play as the fourth most difficult, just playing just slightly over par, so pretty tough par 3 here.
Calvin with the comebacker.
Yeah, needs this par to keep momentum going. Doesn't look like he was concerned about it at all.
So we move into the final hole here on the front 9, par 4, 641 feet. You're going to shoot this beautiful gap. It's really just everything you got. Just make sure that it fades left. There's kind of 2 ways you can play the drive and try to be on that left side to open up more of a straight approach, or be on the right side and kind of maybe open up a forehand. But this is a very protected green. The bunker really comes into play because it is short, and with the wind we're having, you really can't rely that you're not going to get pushed down all of a sudden or picked up and go long. The basket placement really tough on this one.
Yeah, this is another one that they've changed a little bit. It used to be just short in front of this bunker. Great change here to make it a much more difficult par 4. I think pushing it out straight and as far left as you can get is the best play, just to give you the most open space into this green.
And that is a huge drive here from Kevin. Hopping the tee pad, giving everything he got. Adam to continue the momentum he's starting to build.
Yeah, and he gets this up nice and high, going off to the left side. He'll be able to throw a forehand in from there and really avoid that bunker at all. You've got a left to right wind pushing you over that way as well. And as soon as you get over that bunker and past that basket, it drops off to that cart path back there.
So quick.
Very quick.
Calvin reaching here for the Halo Destroyer. Similar line to Adam, just like you said, trying to almost get to that kind of left side, just set up for a simpler approach. And a par 4 where distance really isn't too much of an issue off the tee if you just kind of set yourself up where you want to be, what side of your game you want to reach for, and like you said, to avoid it completely into the forehand, or if you want to kind of set up and be in that circle's edge range and never bring it into play.
Yeah, thanks.
All our players pretty much in a similar spot, so it's just kind of choosing what they're feeling the most confident in, as Adam is going to that forehand.
Yeah, never... I was about to say never really bringing that bunker into play, but it slowed down a bit quicker than I thought. He'll be right there for a birdie look, though.
Yeah, and these forehands with this left to right, if you do throw it and kind of get it on angle, it really is going to want to push it to the right.
Yeah, see how quickly he grabbed that one.
Does curl back in, and he's safe.
So far, all of these players choosing that forehand, trying to go around the bunker. Very difficult to go over top and stop it.
Ricky holding on maybe just a little bit long. Does curl back inside the circle, though, but maybe be a little bit obstructed with that one tree there. Shouldn't be too much for him, though.
So Kevin opting for the backhand here. This is going to be hard to distance control. And he does throw it just a bit hot. He ends up outside the circle, but maybe he did that on purpose. He has been hitting those pretty well so far.
I don't know if you ever want to be on purpose looking at a hazard right behind the basket, but he, like I said, he's feeling confident. Oh, and that hits the cage.
Oh, gets hit.
Yeah, it's surprising to see him not go to the forehand there. I mean, from that distance, he does have a lot of touch with those putters with the approach disc, and Ricky stretching all the way out, making use of his tall stature and finding the birdie here on 9.
Yeah, getting one of those back-to-back bogeys back there. He's looking to get back on track.
Calvin to go 5 down on the front 9, really setting the pace for the card, and Kevin's right there with him. Going to be matching that is Adam making good.
Yeah, starting to get the green on there. He's got 3 birdies now since his rough little stretch on 3, 4, and 5. Fighting back to 2 over now. Kevin able to connect for his par. And like we were talking about before, a lot more score separation here on this front nine.
Yeah, our cards staying pretty close. Again, Adam just a little bit off in that 3, 4, 5, but really the momentum is starting to shift in his way. And, that's part of the course here, with the Innova course being a little bit more difficult than the Infinite course we play as we check in with our leaderboard, the round 2 front nine. Chris Dickerson holding on, Eagle McMahon's making a charge, and Calvin, like we said, quietly playing, but really putting himself in a position to attack and, again, set the standard for what the card is doing.
Yeah, a couple guys kept it clean. A couple guys had some struggles. I'm excited to watch this back nine. Hopefully we can see a couple more clean rounds and watch these other guys clean it up just a bit.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. My name is Mitch Phillips. Joining me, Nathan Queen, and we will see you for the back nine here at Gatekeeper Media.
We'll see you guys out there.